Week two. Hope you all had a good week one. Hope it went well. Now here's where we take awareness, problem solving, and we add commitment to it. We're going to identify what was really hard about week one, why was it hard, and how we can actually fix it, what we can work on. And then the next week we're gonna pay extra attention to that and make that a priority. We're gonna so what you want to do is assess that, figure that out, and then add that in going into week two, because week two, you're going to start with some non negotiables. Now, what a non negotiable is something you really just can't negotiate your way out of. Typically, somebody who would want to do cardio every day, let's say you need to do 25 minutes at an elevated heart rate of 155 beats per minute, but one day you weren't really feeling it, so you just did 20 minutes and didn't really manage your heart rate or whatnot. The non-negotiable will hold you accountable to that fact of completing that task to the parameters that are set, or the confines that it's set within. So you're going to do that cardio, but not just doing cardio daily, but hitting that 155 beats per minute or whatever it is, and that duration, whatever it may be. That is your non-negotiable. Your non-negotiable is to hit your protein goals, to hit your total goals. Your non-negotiables will be it doesn't even really need to be fitness related. It could be just to make more time to read. Stuff like that kind of forces a certain discipline to where all self-care kind of correlates into one another. So you want to kind of keep it more centered towards your goals, but it doesn't have to necessarily be cardio, weights, or meals. It can be you just want to complete a successful week, and these are the things that you had a hard time with in week one. So going into week two, this is what has been adapted to your non-negotiables, what you have to complete. So with that, when you got those, you want to redefine your long-term goals. Like, we all started for some reason, and there's something inside you that goes beyond, weight loss or weight gain or building muscle and whatnot. There's something beyond that. And I want you to develop that more for yourself. Whether it be, you want to lose weight and look good because you've never felt comfortable in a bikini and you have a good trip coming up and you want to shock all your friends. That means something to you. That's your goal. And that gives you something, honestly, to work towards and prioritize. Those days that you don't want to go to the gym, those days that you don't want to count your macros, those days that you want to binge eat and just go back to your bad habits, that mindset, instead of saying, well, I'm trying to lose weight, you're thinking, no, in May, I want to look this certain way. And then after that, when you have that, you want to be in a positive way, because we always want to talk mentality here. And in my mentality course, we'll go over a lot more of this. But right now, I just want you to really focus on the positive aspects of what this will bring you and what this goal changes for you, who you become after you complete this goal. If you want to lose X amount of weight by X amount of time and look X way, um, what does that do for your current situation? Where does that propel you? Like I said, if you want to feel comfortable in a bikini like you've never have, and that means something to you, and once you're there, you're going to gain this level of confidence. There's a lot to unlock there too, because it's not just this vanity, I want to look good in a bikini. There's a certain, you know, desperation there that you've never had. And whether it's being in a bikini or whatnot, if it's a dude wanting to build big muscles, lean out, whatnot, what that will gain for you in the long run is way more than the vanity will. Yeah, it's cool to look good, but in the end, the confidence that you gain, the experience that you gain from knowing that you made yourself work harder, it's not only that you look better, you actually feel accomplished with the way you look and what you did to get there. So that's something to consider whenever you're goal setting, whenever you're in this week. You don't want to start thinking about, oh, this is so heinous. I don't want to diet. I don't want to do my cardio. I don't want to. It's going to be even worse if you think that way. The best way to think about it is, I know it's hard now, but it won't be this way forever. We are in this phase to get this destination. And I mean, that may look a million different ways for a million different people, but there are similar, attributes to that. And that's what we discuss here. And that's what we're going to, meet at. And that's kind of how we bring support to each other, because we all know what we're going through, regardless of what stage we're at, regardless of what our goals are. This all impacts us on a physical and mental and emotional way, to where the support and the mindset will drive you further than anything else before. But I digress, guys. I can go into the mindset over and over, and that's why we made another module for it. But moving on to week 2, you really want to just start learning more too. This gave you an insight in week 1 to what's really difficult, what is still standing out as far as fitness, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. Because let's be honest, going back to what was difficult in week 1, was it difficult because you had a hard time grasping the concept, completing the task, or is it just because you didn't want to do that? And this is where we gotta to go through that with an honest comb, and really be honest with ourselves and say, I really hate meal prepping. I really hate food tracking. I really hate going to the gym at this certain amount of time. That's why I didn't go. Those are the times you got to be honest and rectify that. Really fix it. You can't just quit something because something that was fixable. It's like throwing away something just because you needed to change the batteries. And then, so with your goals and with your new positive mindset, and your aspects, looking out at, like, okay, this is why week 1 was so hard, and this is what I could do better, and this is what I want moving forward. Now it gives you an opportunity to plan the weeks ahead of you, including the obstacles. What do you got coming up? Like, I know a lot of parents, it's not just your schedule, it's your kid's schedule. So you really got to get into the habit of you can't see it behind us, but I do have a dry erase board with my calendar on there, and I write out all my rest days, what days are what, pretty much any little thing that I need to know that's going to affect my schedule on the workouts. So that's a good thing to get into the habit of, is knowing, if someone's birthday's coming up, you don't have to skip the birthday, you just have to plan for it. So that's planning the weeks ahead, is just having that goal in your mind, being locked in, focus on that goal, and then planning around that, because life is still going to happen. You still have to go on outside of what we're trying to do here, and that's completely okay, because we're trying to create a sustainable lifestyle, and this is how we do it, guys. A lot of things seem really rough, and like you don't want to do it until you see it actually laid out in front of you, and you have a clear, more understanding of what it'll entail and what's gonna happen. So I think that takes away a lot of the anxiety. So that's why I emphasize more on just planning it out, guys, because then, for instance, I had a client one time messaged me real frantically. They were at class, and they didn't have a meal. Said they, yesterday, uh, things came up and they didn't prep their meal, and right now they're in the lunch hall and they need to figure out what the food was. And that was something they could have necessarily planned the night before, because they knew they weren't going to have that meal. I think honestly they just wanted to have the Chick-fil-A sandwich that was in the cafeteria, where they were able to buy it. And if they would have been communicative more about that and said that the night ahead, I would have been able to been like, look, this is how we can plan out the day tomorrow, and you could still have your Chick-fil-A sandwich and not be stressed out about it. Um, I think it's better to have the Chick-fil-A sandwich, because it's really not that bad for you, and we will go over that if you not have already gone into the macros making sense part of this all. We could see how that could still fit into our budget, but it all takes planning and execution with great structure, not just grasping at straws and hoping that it might work. This is a structured plan, and week 2 is kind of tightening up all those loose ends, tightening your nuts and bolts and getting ready to head into week 3 when we really hit the pavement and we really start driving towards these goals. All right, guys. Good luck with week 2. See you in week 3. Let's kill it.